Hello and welcome to Matt Loves Eurovision. It's my Eurovision 2025 top 37 countdown. It's place number 9, Czechia, ADONXS, Kiss Kiss Goodbye.
Kiss, kiss, goodbye. Kiss, kiss, goodbye.
Please do click on the subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and like, share, and comment below. Now, it's been 10 years since Czechia made their second coming to the contest. They returned after a break of around 6 years, and they'd only been in the competition a few times before that break. It's been a relatively successful return at that. They got their first ever grand final appearance, qualification, in 2016. Plus, since then, they've had 2 top 10 results and an 11th place as well. Now, they missed out qualifying on the final last year, but it was still close. Aiko came 11th in the semi-final. Now, Czechia have also appeared pretty often, although not last year, admittedly, pretty often in the upper echelons of my own rankings. And, of course, as you can see, they have done it again this year. The Czech delegation often makes quite a little go a long way, and they do work very effectively. And invariably, I found that their artists always seem so delightful. And I think it's safe to say that we can say that about their artist for this year, ADONXS. ADONXS is, of course, a professional name, and it belongs to Slovak singer-songwriter Adam Pavlichin. He's a well-established pop singer in both his native Slovakia and also neighbouring Czechia. His musical career began all the way back in high school. He was in a band. It's then continued when he studied and lived in London. He did his degree, honours degree in London in music, and was here for several years. He returned home during the pandemic, and since then he went on to win the joint Czech-Slovak TV talent show Superstar, which is the kind of equivalent of, well, Czech, pop idol. And since then he's had a solo career in both countries, as well as a modelling career as well. And in the past he has won multiple kind of dance contests. He is a professional dancer. He's also somewhat of an activist. He's been known for raising funds for Ukraine since the war began in 2022, and he has been a very prominent LGBTQ+ activist. He himself is gay. He came out to his parents when he was just 18. He's won an award for his LGBTQ+ activism, and I think it's probably worth noting that part of Europe is not the most gay-friendly, and Slovakia in particular has some of the least liberal laws in the EU when it comes to kind of same-sex unions. Or in fact, they don't have same-sex unions. Is how you should really describe it. Now, he was an internal selection for Czechia. Just if you weren't aware, Slovakia, although eligible to compete in Eurovision, don't at present. It was one of these internal selections where I think an internal panel of quite a lot of people went through a lot of both the singer and the song. They were submitted together. And he debuted his song, Kiss Kiss Goodbye, as an acoustic version at the Maltese semi-final in their national selection. He's one of several co-writers and co-composers of the song, and it's a sort of, I suppose the genre is probably dark pop or avant-garde pop, but it does have that most, well, I say the most Eurovision of things, but most current Eurovision of things, I think recent Eurovision, a dance break. Now, he was adamant, in interviews, he is adamant that he wanted a dance break as an integral part of the song. And even though I think many fans, having perhaps first and only seen the acoustic version, I think wanted the acoustic version to be his Eurovision song. But the inclusion of the dance break, I think, does make sense when you remember that he himself, obviously, is a professional dancer. And when you see him perform the Eurovision version of the song, it does all click together. And I have to say, even without knowing about all his activism that I sort of mentioned earlier, he is a delight to meet in person, as well as being toweringly tall. He was such a gentleman when we met him while kind of in the queue at London Eurovision. He obviously did a signature for my friend Clive's sort of photo. And he was also happy to chat about how he used to live in London, how happy he was to be back here, and how excited he was. So yeah, so a real pleasure. And aside from that, I really enjoy the song, obviously. Now, I think this does stand out for me from some of the other perhaps darkish pop entries, male entries. I'm not sure you can really equate this necessarily to some of those other ones like Norway and Armenia and even Belgium, perhaps. I think it is different to those and does stand out. And I think his voice is just wonderful. It's so deep and smooth. I have to say I was one of the many skeptics about the dance break. It really sounds quite odd in the studio version in terms of when you're listening to it just on your headphones, going for a walk, when you're having a walk or in the car. But I'm definitely a convert now because I think, and because as I say, I think if he executes it as well as he's done at the pre-parties, or even better than the pre-parties, it should really work well. This is a really solid effort from Czechia, and I think there is a lot of confidence that this is going to go through to the final. It will qualify from the semi-finals and could do well in that final. I concur with that kind of general view. For a male pop song that isn't a big bop, it's not a huge sort of pop banger kind of one. It's doing fine in the Eurovision scoreboard, not right at the top 10, but it's not too far outside of it. And the betting odds for this to qualify seem pretty good as well. Now, we know that the Czech delegation is pretty good at staging and just in general their overall approach. And ADONXS himself is obviously creative and experienced and talented, which all kind of bodes well for a kind of doing well at Eurovision. In the betting odds to win, this is actually doing very well. It's currently shifting between 6th and 8th. It sort of depends on which day you're looking at it, but it's been hovering in those, it's been up and down in those positions over the last couple of weeks. Now, I think it's probably a bit too much of a stretch to think this will actually be in contention to win overall, but it is really encouraging to see it this high in the odds. And I think this is the highest country in the odds that has yet to win Eurovision. So that's also quite an exciting thing. I do think ADONXS is definitely in the frame to repeat Vesna's success of 2023 and get a top 10 result, maybe surpassing their 10th place. Now, the highest bar would be, of course, to match Czechia's 2018 6th place result. That is a tall order, but remember, ADONXS is a very tall contestant. You can find this on my website as well, www.mattloveseurovision.com. And as always, do let me know what's your number 9 and what do you think of my number 9 and how do you think ADONXS will do in the contest. Do let me know as always. And join me again soon as we carry on up my top 10. Take care.